Right, and we'll be live in the next few minutes. It says live now. Awesome. All right then, ready to greet the world?
Yes, yeah, ready to greet the world.
Are the world ready to see your ugly face? No, but let's
No,
go.
yeah, it's just another Tuesday, isn't it?
All right, YouTube, how you doing?
Hello, how are you? How are you, Dan?
I'm all right, how are you?
I'm good. Just another average Tuesday, really, isn't it? But
An average Tuesday with some banging tunes.
yes, yeah, we've been through many a CDs before cameras started rolling.
Now, kids, if you don't know what they are, they're little round disc things that old people like us used to listen to music on.
That's true.
Oh,
that's true.
yeah.
Yeah. Some people still have them playing in cars if your car is old enough for it.
Go ask your granddad all about it. Anyway, Tommy, we're here. It's Tuesday. It's past your bedtime.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
Do you like a pillow?
Yeah, I might nod off like mid-review, so just keep an eye on me, yeah?
That's all right. We all nod off mid-review anyway.
That's
It's
fine, that's fine,
It's
yeah.
fine.
It'll be a bit of irony, bit of twisted irony.
Right, fighting February, ass-kicking month. Wah-ya! What have you got?
So we started last week, didn't we? We talked about Mortal Kombat 1995.
We did?
Well, we're continuing that trend this week as we progress into the ill-fated sequel, which came out in 1997. It's called Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Okay.
And with
It's on screen now.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
it's playing behind us. You know, people can see the very poor CGI effects, which I will speak about very shortly.
Yeah.
With a sequel as bad as this one good thing comes out of it as you appreciate its predecessor a lot more upon reflection. Because a lot of people don't think the first Mortal Kombat's a good movie, but when you compare it to this movie, it is 100%. Like, it looks like a masterpiece in comparison. Only 2 actors from the original film return, that being the actors that play Liu Kang and Katana. All the other characters are recast by lesser actors.
Cortana, that fucking annoying little assistant on your computer.
Katana.
Oh, okay, sorry.
The other characters are recast by lesser actors without as much personality. Sonya Blade, Johnny Cage, and Raiden especially. The dialogue in this film could have worked if the dialogue was simply discarded and replaced with better words for better actors to deliver. It is so half-assed it is in its delivery. It's just awful.
Nice.
Katana's mother's famous line being my favourite so bad it's good line. There's a scene where the character of Katana, she sees her mother, who has come back as an evil villain, who she thought her mother was dead. So she's like, "Mother, you're alive," and then the mother's reaction is, "Too bad you will die." And that's literally her delivery. I need to show you the clip after this review because you need to see it to believe it. But it is terrible acting in a terrible film. Brian Thompson is a good casting choice for Shao Kahn, who's like the main evil character for the film. But having an actor cast in a matching role is only half the merit. His dialogue is still just as bad as the rest. It really, it's a sight to believe. I can see some of the clips, take place as we speak. So to close, this film is a lazy sequel in every sense of the word. It has 80% of its cast recast, the CGI somehow looks even worse, and there's a whole plot line about animality that proves the poor CGI in execution, but possibly a good laugh to watch with friends if you want to rip a film to shreds. Which I did the last time I watched it. I watched. Me and my friends were like, you know what? Let's just watch both Mortal Kombat movies. So we watched the first one and thought, hey, it's just a innocent 90s, kung fu film. And then we went on to this film, and 2 of us had seen it, but one of us hadn't, and the one that hadn't wished he hadn't.
Wow.
Once we did. So on that note, Dan, I'm giving Mortal Kombat Annihilation 1 star out of 5. It really is a so bad it's good movie.
So you're fighting the movies this month. I'm feeling it now. The
Yep.
resistance here.
Yep. And
Alright.
I'm looking forward to showing you some of the clips of it after the cameras are switched off, because honest to God, you need to see some of these poorly delivered lines, some of these poorly CGI scenes. It's just a poor movie all round. But if you want a good laugh, watch it with some mates and just rip it to shreds.
Or put on a better movie, maybe one starring Jim Carrey.
Or one made by Pixar, because have we got a certain list that we got to talk about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's open it. What kind of folding is this, Tommy?
It was a quick mishmash
Why
of
the
folding.
hell could you not line it up? What the
I couldn't be asked to line it up.
It shows. Right, here we go. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to read out every Pixar film in order.
Yep.
Okay. And
Bear in mind, I haven't seen all of them, so I could only mark the ones that I've seen as well. So.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. We're gonna go through the ones we haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna read out our ratings out of 5.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
I won't
rate
remember
down
them off
stars.
by heart, so you'll have to
It's
read
alright,
them out.
I'll read them out.
Yeah.
I'll read them out for you. I'll read them out for you. But this one I don't need to remind you of. Toy Story from 1995. You gave it a
5,
and
obviously.
I gave it a 5. Enough said about that.
Yep.
The next one in the series for Pixar 1998 was...
Bug's Life.
It was indeed. And you gave it...
4.5.
4.5. You did. I gave it 5.
Yeah. Rightly so.
But again, I can't disagree with either of those scores.
Yep.
Toy Story 2 in...
1999.
Oh, yes. I had this. I had the two first Toy Story films on VHS. The best way to consume them, by the way.
I've still got them somewhere lying around in my
Yeah,
loft.
I've got them as well. You gave it a...
5.
I gave it a...
5, surely.
Obviously, I gave it a 5.
Yeah.
So it's a great film. Next, in 2001, Monsters, Inc.
Monsters, Inc. I'm going to say I gave 4 stars.
You did, and so did I. So
Yep,
we're both
yeah.
giving that 4 stars.
It's no Bug's Life, it's no Toy Story, but it's still
It's
fun.
still a good film.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
still worth a watch on a Sunday afternoon with the kids.
And there is a lot of heart in that film.
Lot of. Now, the first film that you've rated higher than me in the whole of this, Finding Nemo in 2003.
Yep.
I gave it a 4. You've given it a 4.5.
Yep, yeah.
What gave it the extra half for you?
I don't know, I just think, it's near flawless. The music is very touching. The story is perfectly paced. The characters are all, no, there's not one unused scene in the film that shouldn't be there. It's all, it's everything. It's just the right length.
Everything's connected, isn't it?
It's just the right length of a film. It's perfectly paced. I can hear really not really.
I'd say the only thing that would annoy me with it is Marlon did get a little bit on my nerves about 3/4 of the way through. But apart from that,
I think Dory can be a bit obnoxious, a bit in your face, like with her comedy, with Ellen DeGeneres' comedy. And
she did well.
Yeah. I mean, for the most
fair.
part, yeah. I mean, it does work, but
again, 4.5.
Yeah.
Not a bad score.
Yeah.
The next one, The Incredibles from 2004. Need I read on?
5 stars.
Of course, it's a 5.
That I think on my list, I think after the Toy Story films, well, the first 3, The Incredibles is next on that ranking list. So they're all 5 stars. Those ones.
Now, the next one in the series, the first one you haven't seen from 2006.
Cars.
It is Cars. Tommy, what the hell happened? Where were you? Why have you
I was
not
too busy
seen
watching
this?
X-Men: The Last Stand that year. X-Men: The Last Stand and Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest. They pretty much dominated 2006 for me.
True, but you've seen the really crappy Mortal Kombat film. Come on, Tommy. And you've rewatched it. There's plenty of opportunity to catch up on Cars.
Well, yeah, we'll get there.
That's all right. We've got Animated Naughty's April coming up, and if you haven't watched Cars by then, I would have sold the YouTube channel to America, okay?
Yep, sure.
So, Ratatouille from 2007. I'm glad you've seen this. I gave it a 5. You've given it a 4.5. What lost it that half for you?
I don't know. I think it's probably out of Brad Bird's animated films being Iron Giant, Incredibles, and Ratatouille. I think Ratatouille is the weakest of the 3. The other 2 get 5 stars from me.
Do you think it relied too much on its
maybe on
its chef adventure?
Yeah. I think if you're not interested in culinary classes or anything, or cooking, perhaps maybe you might drift a bit in it. It's a bit like watching Wolf of Wall Street if you're not interested in stocks, Your mind drifts, and maybe if they go a bit too much into the nature of the kitchen, maybe. But ultimately, it's still a charming movie.
Absolutely, I think it's great. 2008, though, I don't know what Pixar were doing. With WALL-E. Now, you haven't rated this one, so you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it.
But from what I have seen of it, it looks very boring.
It is very, very boring.
You're the only person who seems to agree with me on it. Everyone else has been telling me, oh my God, you need to watch WALL-E. WALL-E's great.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I gave it a 1 star. Me and the family we were so bored halfway through, we turned it off. And then my dad said, no, continue. It might get better. It might get better. It didn't get better. Oh boy, did it not get better. Next on the list, Up 2009. I've given it a 1 star. Again, I found it quite boring. You've given it 4, so we're not seeing eye to eye on this.
I don't think we are. No. It's just
Go on.
I'd give it 4 stars purely for that opening alone. That opening is hard hitting stuff.
Oh, no, that makes me sad.
But it's sometimes
It's powerful, though.
sometimes sad scenes in movies are what went over. I mean, look at Titanic. I mean, it's all it's emotion.
Okay. I'll give you that. Okay, 2010 time. You know where we're going with this.
My
Toy
favourite.
Story 3. This is the first Toy Story film in the whole of the series so far that I have not given a 5 star to. I've given it 4, but you're giving it a 5.
It's my favourite film, Pixar film. And I think it's
Wow.
it's purely because Toy Story and Toy Story 2, they also get 5 from me, but they are films from my childhood.
I mean, they've maintained a 5-star standard from you from 1999 to 2010.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a pretty good uphold.
I mean, Toy Story 3, the issue with, well, not so much an issue as more of an analysis, is that Toy Story 3 reminds you of your childhood. And then it pulls on those heartstrings. I know, like,
That's too much for me.
Nostalgia gets thrown about a lot in Hollywood these days. As, oh my god, let's get that actor back to play that character who hasn't played him in 20 years or 30 years. But with Toy Story 3, it was nostalgia done right. It was part of the story. And all the characters in it, the new ones especially, they all served the story. The character of Lotso as the villain, it was all serving the story. And ultimately, I can't fault it,
For me, the only thing that faulted it there was the ending. I wanted to see that. Okay, right, I'm not going to spoil the ending too much, but I wanted to see that.
I'm pretty sure you can spoil an ending for a 13-year-old film at this point.
Yes, okay, fine. Basically, right, when they drove off and Woody did that so long partner, oh my god, that was so heartstringing, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to see that flashback 20 years later. Andy's a grandparent now. The toys are still there. They're back in Andy's house or Andy's family line. But no, it took a different turn to where I wanted it to go. I always said since the end of Toy Story 2, that's how I want the Toy Story series to end. Because we knew Toy Story 3 was coming.
Yeah.
Because it was teased in the credits too. We knew that it was coming. So when it came, I had that expectation over the years and years for that ending, and I just didn't get the ending I wanted.
Well, if it's any consolation, the ending to Toy Story 3 is very poetic because the very I don't know if you know this, but the very last shot of Toy Story 3 is of the clouds, and the first shot of Toy Story 1
oh no, the chills, man,
is the clouds on the
yes.
on the wallpaper. So it does come full circle still. Like, it starts with the clouds and it ends with the clouds,
and it closes there. Leave it there.
Let's just ignore
Leave it there. Okay.
any future ones.
We are going to get into that in a bit. 2011, this happened. Cars 2, another film I've given 1 star to.
I've heard bad things about this one.
This film is so bad. The first film had originality. Mm-hmm. It had story. It had courage. That's why I think you'll really enjoy it. This film just turned into, oh yeah, cars can now do this. You know, it was less, I'm going to say this out loud, it's not going to sound really silly.
Okay.
It was less realistic.
Okay.
I get that it's a talking cars movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But you could kind of live with where the realism had been moved.
It's almost like, because Cars 1 became this big thing, it's almost like the filmmakers didn't try.
They've cashed in. Yeah, absolutely.
They didn't try.
Now, this one, 2012, Brave. Now, we're not seeing eye to eye on this one.
Yep.
I give it a 4 star. You've given it 2. Now, this is one of my dad's favourite Pixar films.
I don't know why, but Brave just didn't do it for me. I did watch it. I remember taking my little cousins to go watch it, and I was quite bored, It just, it just.
I think because I quite like TV shows like Merlin.
Yeah.
And I quite like that medieval stuff.
Mm-hmm.
that's probably where I had that appeal.
One thing I did like about going into the film was I didn't watch any trailers for it, so I went in completely blind.
So did I actually.
I didn't know what the plot was. I didn't know what the film was going to be about. I didn't really. All I
Yeah.
knew was it was a redhead medieval girl with a bow and arrow. That's all I knew.
Yep.
And there are
In
some
Scotland.
yeah, and there are some highlights in it, but like Billy Connolly voicing her dad. I mean, that is
You can't get it. That was a
stellar
really good,
casting.
really good bit of casting. I mean, for me, before I'd seen the film, I'd only ever heard the radio commercial,
Yeah.
which has got Billy Connolly go, "That's my favourite part,"
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
literally the only part of the film I've ever
I
seen. or
love
heard.
Billy Connolly. He's great.
Honestly, that made the film for me. 2013, Monsters University. Now, I've given it a 4, same as the first one, because I like them equally. You've given it 1.5. You're running that one through the mud. Why?
I believe this one is on the bottom of my list because ultimately, Dan, we waited 12 years
Yeah.
and we got a prequel and not a sequel.
But we can still get a sequel, though.
But
That's why I'm not
I
doing
wanted a sequel. I wanted
I know what you wanted.
look what I
I
wanted.
want the same.
I wanted what they did with Toy Story 3 for Monsters Inc. 2, and I wanted it to take place a decade or so after. I wanted Boo to be older. I wanted maybe even Boo to have children.
That would have been a really, really good premise if the story of the sequel was Boo's grown up and wants to look for Kitty, the monster,
yeah.
and somehow makes her way into the monster world. If we had that,
hmm
oh yeah, that.
Or even Boo's
Gold.
child, like maybe Boo grows up to become an adult and has another daughter.
Yeah.
And Sully is
Boo
looking
too.
for Boo too. Yeah, exactly. But it just wasn't to be. Monsters University didn't do it for me.
But-
It was nice to see characters where you knew where they were going, like Randall, for example. You see Randall as a nerdy kind of university kid with Mike and everything.
And then he goes invisible. Like, if I do that, I'll be a laughing stock. No, use it.
Use it.
Do you know? Yeah, we know he becomes that really powerful villain in the end.
Yeah.
But also, I think that Monsters University, the reason I'm not giving it such a harsh rating is because that sequel we want can still happen.
It could.
It can still happen.
And if it does come out, then they won't need to make another one because it will just they'll have done their trilogy. They just did it in a different order.
Yep, absolutely. The next one, 2015, Inside Out, and you haven't rated this one, so you haven't seen it.
Do you know what? My mum, my dad, and my brother, they put it on. I'm going to say about 7 or 8 years ago, one Saturday night, and I must have been busy or something, maybe something work related. I don't know, but I was in and out of the room quite a lot, so I've sat down to watch it, but I've been in and out of the room, so I couldn't fully immerse myself.
Okay, well, I can tell you, it's not a film that can really grip you. I found it quite boring, a bit like Wall-E.
It's ironic because it's a film about
overrated.
Emotions.
And to be honest, it's a really. I just felt the whole film was just trying to raise awareness for mental health, which is not that that's a bad thing. I'd probably watch it in a different light now after we've had the pandemic, etc. But I just didn't find it to be a very entertaining film. Not a great deal happened.
Out of all the most recent Pixar ones, though, Inside Out is one I do want to put some effort into watch because of its
we'll
message.
complete this chart.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The next one, 2015, The Good Dinosaur. We ain't seen that.
I haven't seen
Neither of us have seen that.
No, I've seen a trailer for it, but
this
that's
is actually the first one in the whole Pixar series that I haven't seen, if you notice.
Oh,
It's the first
right.
one
That's
I
the first
haven't seen,
one.
so I've seen them all.
Okay,
So you've got catching up to do, mate. You're meant to be the movie guy. The next one in the series, Finding Dory 2016. You haven't seen this!
My brother...
Hey, BBC One make a whole Christmas day about showing it.
My brother said to me literally 2 days ago, saying, I bet you ain't seen Finding Dory yet. He's been saying this to me for the past 7 or 8 years. So, but I'll get there. I just haven't got around to it
Now,
yet.
I'll be honest, I've given it 3 because whilst I thought it was a good film, I kind of felt that, a bit like Cars 2, it just kept going off on random tangents. We just went too far out. But the new characters you meet in the film, they are lovable. You do like them. It's not a bad movie. I just think Finding Nemo was just a better film.
Yeah.
But I think you'll have the same opinion, but do let me know. Okay, 2017, Cars 3. I've given it 3 stars.
Well, yeah, I've heard that Cars 3 is better than Cars 2.
I will say Cars 3 should have just been the sequel to Cars 2.
Okay.
It's basically about the main character's retirement. That's all I'm saying. Still a good film, just not as good as Cars 1, okay? The next one, Coco 2017. I haven't seen it, you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
I've Sky Plus it, but I haven't seen it.
Heard it's quite emotional, but I haven't seen it.
I've been told it's brilliant, so I'm looking forward to seeing that one. Okay, 2018.
I know what's coming.
This is when producer man Steve dragged me into the cinema. You know what I'm like. I don't go nowhere.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Unless for the Harry Hill movie.
No, let's not go. No. That was on New Year's Eve 2013.
Crikey.
Just as we were about to welcome in 2014. We ain't talking about that. Instead, I'm telling you about this one. My first time in the Empire Cinema here in Ipswich. The Incredibles 2.
Yes.
Incredible movie. Now,
Yep.
I'm giving this one a 4 star. Slight less on the rating that I gave the first one. You've given it 3. You've given it you've given it a downgrade as well. Both of us have downgraded it by 1 point.
The issue is,
Why?
it seems like they almost waited too long. And you were never going to get as good a villain as Syndrome from the first one.
Yeah.
The new villain is a very big downgrade for me.
Yeah.
And I think...
What's an IT technician? It's no different than me being a villain.
Yeah, but there are praises to the film still. Every scene with Jack, every scene with Edna. And they don't overuse Edna either. They're very cautious about that, I think.
Yeah.
They're being very careful not to have too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
And pretty much all the scenes with Mr. Incredible looking after his kids,
Yeah.
that's entertaining family dramatic stuff.
And it's not only that as well, but it also gives us that untapped and unseen sight into that character of Mr. Incredible. Because in the first Incredibles movie, you still can see the character of Violet and Dash and their school life and how that's going. You can still see that in the second one, only you're seeing more of the fatherly bond, and he's reaching out to his friend Frozone, like, what the hell do I do here?
And there's one thing you haven't mentioned, which is basically the side mission scenes with Elastigirl. Those are the bits that let me down for the film. They're just not as interesting as seeing the family bounce off each other, because the dialogue is just so great. And you know,
I suppose in the first film you had that element of, okay, he's gone away and he's not told anyone what he's really up to.
Yeah.
In this film, it's pretty much straight off the bat, right, this is what you're doing.
See, normally, like in the first film, I would have said like the scenes with the mum and the kids were better in comparison to the scenes where Mr. Incredible's on the island on his own. But you have the interaction between a much better villain in that one. So the scenes between Syndrome and Mr. Incredible are just as good as the scenes with Helen and the kids. So that's why that film is still a 5-star. It's a downgrade, but not a bad movie by all means. But it's just got way more issues.
Right, 2019, we're going there, Tommy, we're going there. Toy Story 4!
A film that nobody needed. Honest to God, if they had just left it at Toy Story 3... Now, it would have been hailed as one of the best trilogies of all time.
I've given it 2. You've given it 2.5. You've rated it higher than me.
Well, there are some emotional beats to it. Like, I like the fact that Bo Peep is back in it. I like the.
Was it just me, or did she go from cloth to marble?
I'm pretty sure she did change.
There's certain something she did. I mean, the first thing I noticed at the opening scene in Toy Story 4, the visuals were absolutely stunning.
Andy looks a lot different than he looked in Toy Story 1 and 2. Obviously for technological reasons.
Yes, but I still think it looked stunning. But the story let me down. They weren't in the house. They weren't on an adventure.
I find
they
that
were just in an RV.
They turned Buzz into an idiot.
Yeah.
I think they turned Buzz into an idiot. I didn't like the new villains who end up not getting their comeuppance. They just become good at the end. Do you remember that?
Awful film.
I didn't like those side characters who were there for comic relief. Those, I think they're like stuffed birds or something.
Oh, the stuffed
they
rabbit.
They talk all gangster like and everything.
Yeah.
I didn't like those.
It's disappointing.
Yeah. And again, like I say, I think they complete, and it ruined a pattern for me. There's Toy Story films are only good if at some point in them Buzz Lightyear becomes the deluded Space Ranger again.
Yeah.
The first film, Buzz Lightyear is that deluded Space Ranger. The second film, he meets another Buzz Lightyear who's a deluded Space Ranger.
Yep.
In the third one, he gets rebooted, doesn't he? So
Yeah.
he gets turned back to the deluded Space Ranger. But in the fourth one, there's none of that. So it's just a side
So
thing.
they didn't know what to do with him. So like, we'll just turn away his intelligence.
Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest with you, they could have done a lot better with this movie. They didn't need to make one, but they could have made one that would have been a really, really good one. And just returning to somewhere within Toy Story 3,
And apparently, their Toy Story 4 Toy Story 5 has recently been announced.
Yeah, it has recently been announced. But I mean, the thing with Toy Story 4 is it could have just been something as simple as Andy went downstairs. They had QVC.
I thought you said Gandhi.
No. I said Andy. But Woody could have gone downstairs, seen QVC on, Bo Peep's for sale. Oh right, I'm gonna go down there and break in. Buzz, you coming with me?
Yeah.
Run into Al again, or do you know what I mean? They could have done a little.
But that's
bit more.
another thing. They turned Buzz into an idiot in the fourth one. Like
Yeah.
he's really stupid. Yet in the previous films, he's the guy. Like he led the toys out to save Woody in Toy Story 2. He basically tried to save everybody in Toy Story 3 as well.
Yeah.
He was a really intelligent character who was the leader. Apart from Woody, Woody and Buzz were the leaders.
Yeah.
And then Woody.
It's a big letdown.
And then Toy Story 4 ended with them parting ways. It's just I didn't like it.
The only thing I did like about it, Forky. I thought it was hilarious.
Forky was
Absolutely hilarious.
Forky was interesting, and they tried something new with it, and that's what I liked about it.
Well, that's it. That's what's going for it. Yeah, the Toy Story 4. Yeah.
Yep. And I don't think I've seen any more Pixar movies since.
Okay. Well, there is just one more that I have seen. Soul from 2020.
What was that?
I've given it a 1 star. I'm putting it up there with WALL-E and Inside Out. It was just a boring film.
Mm-hmm.
It was very much the same as Inside Out in many ways.
Right.
But instead of emotions, you're focusing on the actual soul.
Yeah.
So basically, long story short, musician dies, soul realignment, the souls are doing stuff in like heaven or whatever, making the film. You've got Richard Ayoade, who's in charge of actually putting all the souls where they need to be, which was quite a funny addition.
Yeah.
And then I think in the end he ends up waking up in hospital and not dying because his soul managed to escape with the rotten soul that never... Because basically they died and their souls would be reallocated to newborns.
Right.
Was pretty much the premise of the film. I just found it very boring.
Okay.
You might like it if you got friends that like WALL-E, so they'd love that.
Well, I've got a question hot off the rails here for you to end this list.
Go on.
Favorite Pixar short?
Shorts. Ho ho ho! It's gotta be. It's on the Incredibles disc. Knick Knack.
Oh, do you mean? Oh,
I mean, yeah. Oh, you didn't see this coming, did you? You didn't
no,
think
no,
about
no.
your question
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
did
that
ya?
was a
that was like the snow globe thing.
right.
We envies the summer display.
Oh, right. Yeah. For a second, I thought you meant like you got it wrong, and you actually meant Jack Attack.
No.
Not Knick Knack.
No.
Yeah. For me,
I believe it's on Disney Plus actually.
For me, it's actually the one. Ironically, mine is from The Incredibles 2. It's Bao. Have you seen Bao?
No. I haven't. Oh yes, I have. I have.
Yeah.
They showed it on the cinema before they showed the film.
Yeah. They did.
Yeah.
The Oriental themed one with the dumpling. It's just beautiful.
That is pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah.
There are some films that we haven't seen. So from 2020 onward, 2021 Luca, 2022 Lightyear, 2022 Turning Red. This year we've got Elemental coming out. Next year they've got Inside Out 2 and ELO. Now this is not a fully complete list because since this was printed, they have since announced
Toy Story 5.
Toy Story 5. They've also announced Zootropolis 2, but that wasn't Pixar.
Okay.
But have you seen Zootropolis 1?
I haven't seen the first one.
It's actually really good. You'd like it.
Yeah.
And the it depends if you like cop movies, to be honest. And
Well, I
also,
love the Lethal Weapon movies.
what's the third one they're coming out with? Toy Story 5, Zootropolis. What else? What's the other one? They've got another one
I
coming
mean,
out.
I hope they do like a third Finding movie or a third Incredibles movie.
Yeah,
but
I think a third Incredibles movie would be welcome. Cars is pretty much dead and
I
buried.
think
that
they.
Monsters Inc. one, that sequel to Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
is what I think we need next.
Yeah, and we certainly do not need a Bug's Life 2, because that's just a perfect film as it is. It doesn't need a sequel.
And on the end of the Toy Story 2, where they're having a little conversation about...
It's a 2 movie, but it's not a Bug's Life 2. Why don't Pixar movies do bloopers anymore at the end?
I'll tell you, right, at the end of Cars,
Yeah?
they are my favourite Pixar bloopers at the end of all.
Okay.
At the end of Cars, okay?
Okay.
So freaking watch Cars! Anyway, if you'd like to subscribe, like, abuse, and talk to us, we're down below over on Letterboxd.
Yes.
You can also like, comment, subscribe all over on the YouTube channel. Tommy, you're going to have a search party looking for you in a minute. I better let you go.
Yeah.
You have a good rest of your night. I'll see you here next week.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We're back on the earlies.
We're back on the earlies next week. You all follow my shift patterns here. You can stalk me, it's fine. Down there on Twitter for stalking, down there on Letterboxd for movies. Go on to his movies at Larkins95 because he's obviously done a lot more than I have. YouTube, have been wonderful as always. You take care, stay safe.
Have a great week, everybody.
And don't eat yellow snow.